Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
Time to say good morning to our Kapiti Mayor, Guru. Kia ora, Guru.
Kia ora, man. Good morning, listeners.
You have a busy weekend. People don't realise just what a mayor does in the weekend. Just give us a brief thumbnail picture of what you did in the weekend, Guru.
Look, for the first time in many months, I had my Saturday free enough for me to mow the lawn, mate.
Wow,
I mowed the front of the lawn, mowed the back of the lawn, and then I was on my back for about 2 hours.
Yes. But generally, it's just all go, isn't it? That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
It does.
Now, this Mazengab, Mazengab...
You mean the resealing?
Yes. Is the council going to have another good look at this? A lot of people complaining it's still very rough there.
Well, I think when you first put the chip seal, it takes time for it to bed down. The noise level will be high, but eventually it will smoothen out.
Yeah, but...
And they will need to periodically come and sweep up the side, because I think the pebbles as more cars go on, some of the pebbles get pushed to the side, and that will be swept up.
So when the council took these contractors on, was it the cheapest option, or was it somebody we've used all the time?
Chip seal is used most of the time.
Yeah, but I say cheaper option.
It is a cheaper option.
All right.
And also it depends on how busy the roads are.
Okay. But we didn't get a good deal out of this. Are you going to look into the contractors in future? Well,
that's a separate process. The tendering process will come up, and as to the performance and all that will be part and parcel of how it balances out. So, yeah, it will be, how do I put it? Commercial tendering processes have their own protocols.
Yes.
So I wouldn't be wanting to make any judgment calls now.
Right, okay. So it comes up under the, tendering. That's fair enough too. Now, the long-term plan, you put in some submissions for the Greater Wellington Regional long-term plan. You're pretty unhappy with the rates they're charging the community. And it looks reflects badly on the Kapiti Coast District Council, of course, doesn't it?
Well, that's right, because we collect their rates for them. And one of the things they don't have, they have a remissions policy also. But because they live in the cloud, I mean, let's all understand this. If central government lives in a higher cloud, these guys live in the medium cloud, and we are in the cold phase. So they do have remission policies and stuff like that, but they never activate it because hardship remissions we pay.
Well, this equalisation of the rates across the region, is that the best way to go? I mean, it sounds fair, doesn't it? And now we're getting some services up here, but is it necessary to...
No, what they're doing is they're shifting, they're fine-tuning their methodology, rating system, where instead of doing an average right across, they look and see where the catchments are, where the benefits are, and then they load on the cost of that benefit that you receive. So that's why for stormwater and flood protection, places where getting the most benefits are loaded with 70%. Previously, it used to be about 50% regional, 40% the catchment area. Now it's 70-30. So in the particular catchments, the benefactors tend to pay up more. And the people region-wide, because some of the places regionally, they are not affected. They pay less. But what we are finding out is that we don't know exactly what they do. We don't know exactly. We're asking them for a list of what are the things that you're doing in the flood protection area, so we know why you're charging the amount you're charging. And of course, the other thing is for Wairarapa, they've given a special dispensation for them because of lack of transport. Like, they don't have railway service or public transport in that area. And so they're giving them a remission for them in terms of lesser rating on Wairarapa. But what about Otaki? Because Otaki also doesn't have very good public transport.
Well, this is it. When I was talking to Greater Wellington Regional Rep Penny Gaylor, she said it really is an equalisation for the whole region, so everybody's paying...
Well, that's not true, because if you're equalisation for the whole region, then you're giving a separate deal for Wairarapa, and they should... I'm not saying they shouldn't get it, they should, but the rationale that's been used for Wairarapa should also apply to Otaki.
That's dead right. Well, that's what we're trying to get across. So we're saying that she should be representing the area by saying, no, this is not on.
But my understanding is I've raised this matter with Chris Laidlaw, the chairman of the Regional Council, and he said, look, Penny has been really good at fighting for Kapiti around the table, but once they've made a decision and all that, there's a sort of what they call a collective responsibility. And so she's sort of giving out their regional council's line, so to speak.
Okay.
But I've had an assurance that we will be presenting. She's coming here for a meeting with us, with senior staff and myself, and we'll be expecting her to fight from our corner. Once our submission's in there, we expect her to be carrying out the arguments of our submission.
Must be very hard for her to do that because it's one voice amongst a biased sort of a Wellington Regional Council, isn't it?
True, that's right. But I mean, you put your hand up for a job, and then you just got to do that and
yes.
cope with the pressure.
But I'm just thinking of the outcomes. You know, you can fight like mad, but the outcomes are still going to be defeated in lots of cases, I suppose.
Well, I think as long as we've got the arguments.
Yeah.
I mean, you cannot deny the fact that you're changing your rating system for Wairarapa. If you can do it for Wairarapa, you can do it for Otaki.
Yes. So will our council putting in a submission on that separately, though?
Yeah, we are putting a submission separately, and I'm going to take 3 of my councillors with me.
Ah, right. You're going to speak to it, obviously.
Yes, right.
Yeah, good as gold. All right, so we're represented on that. Now, the Kapiti Coast the Kapiti Coast Chamber of Commerce believes the District Council's long-term vision for the region fails to incentivise economic growth or prioritise the unprecedented opportunities for business on the Kapiti Coast. Have you read that article?
No, I haven't, but that's very easy to say. How do they mean by incentivising? What do they mean by incentivising? I mean, what are they offering?
Right.
What are they...
Well, Heather Hutchings, Chair of the Chamber, believes the council plan does not adequately address the needs of a growing population or support the commercial growth required to develop an economically sustainable district where people choose to live, work and play.
And
is the council doing that?
Well, I mean, unless you say, look, this is what council is doing at the moment, these are all the other things they should be doing, where the funding should come from and who should be paying. I mean, unless you come up with something like that, then anybody can stand on any soapbox and say whatever you like.
So, the KCDC, are they encouraging businesses to come to the Kapiti Coast? I think that's what she's really getting around to.
Well, okay. I mean, where have we not? We've got an open business policy that needs tweaking. It's challenging to work through the regulatory policies and stuff like that. And so that's one area. We put money into the economic development. We've got a full-time economic development officer, Sarah Touch, is doing an excellent job. And so I fail to see where we are not fully incentivizing it.
I think she's talking about the actions and targets around visitor attraction as one of the big things.
Well, look, the economic development it depends on a whole lot of stuff. I mean, we are not Queenstown or Rotorua or Taupo.
But perhaps we should be trying to add more attractions to get people up to the Kapiti Coast.
That's true.
And that's got to go back on what? The community or the council has got to sort of develop those areas?
Look, for years and years and years, I mean, economic development was not considered to be a core council activity, yet we have been involved in it.
All right. So is there any budget in the Chamber and the Council's budget there to incentivise the attraction of new attractions to the Kapiti Coast?
I think if you put one of the things that all councils do is you do the basics. You get your roading, your water supply, your waste disposal, everything of the sort. These are all the sort of things that give you a platform on which you then have your successful businesses, right? On top of that, you do other things like especially targeting economic development. We've got Maori economic development grants we give out. We've got I think all in we run a website for it. We just got a new website up and running, which is really good.
Right. Yep.
We've got specialist people dealing with economic development. All in, I think you're looking at a $2 million investment of ratepayers' money.
So it's got to be justified to spend that sort of thing. Really, you're forming the base, the council, aren't you? And then it's up
That's
to
right.
even the Chamber of Commerce to attract new businesses with what you're providing.
Yeah, and the other thing, of course, and this is a key thing that I always put to the chamber. We have organizations like Grey Power, which has got 6,000 members, right? And they put in submissions and all that. And I've told them, look, democracy is also a question of numbers. And the chamber has got about 300 members.
Yes, that's right.
Hello.
Yes. Yep, I agree with that. So the power is with, I'd say the Kapiti Chamber of Commerce have got more power than the Grey Power, though, wouldn't they?
Well,
and developing businesses and attracting.
That's true, but when you put submissions to long-term plan, annual plan, and stuff like that, look, there's a balance there, right? And you know that, especially when elections come close by and stuff like that. And I've told this several times. The number of people that you have in the Grey Powers is huge, and you tend to pay attention to them from a political perspective. And the chamber has got about 300 members. They do a good job, and what they say does carry weight with council. But it will be useful if they even have a wider catchment of members in the group. And I know a large number of businesses are one-person, two-person sort of businesses, and they're flat out trying to run the business successfully. And they have little time, and still they depend on the chamber to represent them.
Yep.
But it wouldn't hurt for them to sign up as members, right?
Sure. Okay. Anyhow, the Chamber of Commerce are going to be speaking to you about their submission, which is what it's all about, isn't it? I mean, you've got to look at all these things, and they're going to speak to their submission, and you guys are going to be deciding on what's going to be in the long-term plan and what's not going to be there.
And the other thing we've done is we've given them an early copy of our submission to the regional council.
Okay.
So they can use that to see so that, we can work together on some of those issues in terms of our submissions to long-term plan. In fact, it was Angela Buswell who suggested that would be a good idea. So we have done that. We've given that draft submission to both Grey Power and Chamber.
Right. And what's your thoughts on the development of the old Raumati swimming pool for a ecological and development area down there?
Oh, it's the Marine Education Centre.
Yeah. I think that's a brilliant idea.
I think it's a brilliant idea because what it does, we already have a marine reserve, right? One of the few places we have a marine reserve. So we've got an active asset down there. Having a Marine Education Centre on the mainland here, where you can do some research based on the marine reserve itself, is a fantastic idea. You then have a career path, from your educating primary school children on the sea marine ecology, encouraging the type of subjects that you can have in the colleges that will then lead them to greater qualifications in marine ecology, marine technology, a whole range of things.
So the council must be
fantastic idea.
Yeah, the council must be pretty pleased. I see where Ben Knight says he won't be seeking funds from the Kapiti Coast District Council. He's going to go out and try to get the funds, but you'll have to approve it.
Yeah, that's really great because we are supporting and facilitating that.
Yeah.
By the same token, we will be making application to the Shane Jones's provincial growth fund.
Okay.
For projects like this.
Yep. Excellent. All right, Guru. Well, have a good week. And
okay, mate.
Yeah, we've got the lawns mowed, so you can forget about that and work hard.
Cheers. Thanks a lot. Mate.
Okay. Yeah, Kapiti Mayor, Guru.
106.3 Beach FM.